Hello, Chelsea.
Hello, Nick.
What a beautiful sight.
It is quite beautiful.
So our microphone is here, so let's sort of focus there when we are speaking, but if we're not speaking, yeah. So I was thinking lately about what we've been through in the past few years, and I wonder if we want to take any of that into the future. What are your thoughts?
Well, not particularly, no. And it was quite interesting, the concept that you had before during our discussion.
What was it about? What did you talk about?
Shedding our skin.
Shedding our skin. Wow. What does it mean to you to shed skin as a human in this life?
Well, in regards to the context that we were talking about,
Yeah.
it was more about not physically shedding our skin,
Yeah.
but leaving behind that which no longer serves us.
Yeah. Okay. Can that be painful?
Absolutely. Absolutely it can.
I related to losing friendships that we've outgrown, relationships that no longer serve us, even though we continue to love the person.
Look, I feel that sometimes it's necessary for our growth, but also for their growth. We all have different pathways, and we can accept and love people unconditionally without having to be in their lives in the present moment, I guess, if that makes sense.
I believe we can love people from a distance. We can love people without them actually being in our lives even. And we may both be better off from that. Has this ever happened to you?
It has, yes. And it is painful, absolutely. A lot of self-doubt, because sometimes you become quite connected and familiar with those energies, those people in your life. So when those cords are cut, it's like a new beginning. And sometimes, the pain has to come to the surface for us to start anew. We need to release all that pain and those connections to allow for new growth and new things coming in.
I found myself in familiar misery a lot of the
That's
time.
deep.
Yeah, and I found it more comforting than the unknown world outside.
It's really interesting that you say that. Familiar misery, I love that. Because when you look at fight or flight, when we are in that stress response, we release particular chemicals within our body that we become addicted to. So
Right.
it becomes our way of life. It's all that we know.
Yeah.
But when we start to gain control over that release, so we're not in fight or flight, we actually get to be in that relaxation response. We get scared because it's
Yeah.
unfamiliar. What is this when we're actually at peace and calm and we're not in that familiar misery and constant stress state?
What is strange is we almost are able to relax in familiar misery.
Well, yes.
We are like,
That's a
I'm
good
comfortable.
point.
I know things are shit, but somehow I'm comfortable. And we've trained ourselves to become okay with living in familiar misery. So, what is hard is taking that step that then takes us out of familiar misery. And then you're like, whoa, this is too scary. Let me step back because I know what's here. I don't know what's there. But that's not exactly going to let us grow. We are contained in our shell.
That's right. But also, it's not healthy to stay in that state for
Yeah.
your physiological body and your mental health either. Like, it doesn't have to be so difficult all the time. And that's what people tend to forget when they're in that familiar misery for such a long period of time.
Yeah. And we've all done it. We've all been there, stayed a bit too long than we should have. And what we notice is every time we are actually out of familiar misery and we've acclimatized to the unfamiliar world, we actually are grateful that it happened. We are
Yeah.
grateful that we've stepped out and stepped away from that previous state.
Absolutely. And what I have found from personal experience is that you can be across that line and still have one little toe back in that misery, because it's your fallback. It's unfamiliar. It's familiar. It's like, oh,
Absolutely.
this is, going great. This is new and exciting.
But there's one area that won't happen when you ended a relationship. There's no going back. You don't have a toe to step back and fall back on anymore. Maybe for some people they can, I don't know. But in my case,
I feel now, and I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to relationships. I don't know. I feel like people are shifting and elevating. There's more open communication, and you're either on the same level or you're not. And
yeah,
that goes with intimate relationships, friendships,
Yeah.
family.
exactly.
And yeah, I feel like we've really broken down generational things that have passed down and conditioning, and now
Yeah,
we're at that point where we need to talk about it. We need to talk about everything.
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 Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing is taboo anymore. Nothing should be taboo anymore. I think the reason we started on this discussion is because we both received messages from the universe to rest. And we are wondering why we are being asked to rest when we know there's so much to be done
Yeah.
for ourselves, for our children, for our friends, for humanity. But the reason, as we found, is because we are shedding our skin.
Yeah. And when it comes down to it, as you and I both know, resting is unfamiliar, isn't it?
Oh,
Resting is chaos for me.
yeah.
What is this silence and not doing anything? It's torture. But I keep getting that message that it is vital because, it's a healing phase and it's happening for a reason.
Yeah. And it's important now more than ever to rest because we need to prepare
Absolutely.
for an unfamiliar tomorrow where there will not be any scope for familiar misery. Everything is going to be different tomorrow. Everything is going to be new. The new systems are coming into place. And I feel we don't know what's going to happen, but it's like preparing for a battle, preparing for
Absolutely.
war. And you want to get as much rest as possible before the actual battle begins. But at the same time, continue preparing in whatever way you think is going to help you. What are some of the ways you think we could help ourselves in terms of preparing for a spiritual battle?
Connection to self and connection to nature and just listening. When we have that awareness, the possibilities are endless. Our intuition elevates and ascends and we awaken, and it's infinite and beautiful and scary. But it also brings people together because now we have so much more to talk about. And it's not that we're talking about it, we are feeling it and sharing that energy, and that is really beautiful.
You know what I think is beautiful? A snake that has just shed its skin. It is so shiny and glistening, and you can see the structure of the snake. You can see the muscles. You can see everything so clearly. It's beautiful.
That's going to be us soon
Yeah.
in our new skin.
And I believe that we got to take time and rest when we are shedding our skin. So we do a good job
Yeah.
and ensure that nothing from the past is joining us into the future.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.